Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning in to the day's energies, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Thank you all so much for your likes and comments, for boosting these videos so more people can find these messages. All right, let's get to the overall energy of this reading. What's the overall energy for those who are here? Thank you. Look, it's stuck. Is that the Queen of Cups? Queen of Cups in reverse popping out. What's hidden? What's hidden? All right, the Empress in reverse. Ooh, outcome and advice. Thank you. All right. So the overall energy of the reading is the Queen of Cups in reverse. Someone inauthentic, someone hurt, wounded. Someone who doesn't feel like they can be themselves. Someone's very emotional, very wounded, out of sorts. Who's the Queen of Cups in reverse? Okay. Knight of Swords, Tower reversed. Feels like this Queen of Cups in reverse energy, this wounded energy, rushes in to fix things for others. It feels like she's not, I'm just calling her she because Queen of Cups in reverse. It feels like it's an internal wounding for whoever this is. Gender, I'm not really seeing a gender. It feels like it's internal, feminine, within heart space and emotions. Can't be themselves. Maybe has been told that there's something wrong with who they really are if they're authentic. And instead of healing, going within, maybe the Queen of Cups in reverse doesn't know how to heal this, how to heal themselves, but instead becomes a fixer for everyone else. Fixing, enabling, keeping false realities together, trying to peace at any cost. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty coming from the Queen of Cups in reverse. And instead of, it feels like she doesn't know how to heal that within herself, but becomes someone who rushes in to fix everyone else's needs. It feels like the Queen of Cups in reverse has some belief that she can't heal herself, that she needs someone else to fix. That's what it is. Feels like she believes that when you are wounded, that you've got to wait for the person who wounded you to come in and help heal that, to meet unmet needs. And so instead of healing herself, she rushes in and heals everyone else, helps everyone else, fixes things, keeps things calm, peaceful, peace at any cost. Meeting everybody else's unmet needs, but not knowing how to heal herself, care for herself, heal those wounds. And it feels like it just, it's like an anchor, creates destabilization. an inability to be really grounded and present in reality. Doesn't know how to cultivate an environment, because it feels like she's always in this kind of wounded, operating from a wounded space, trying to fix, trying to show how valuable she is by helping others, by being there for others. This feels like a wounded healer type of energy. Interesting. Queen of Pentacles showing up with the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this is Queen of Pentacles, stable, secure, someone very capable, adept, trains their focus, but there's a foundational lie. What's the foundational lie? Another queen. Queen of Wands with her back turned, Seven of Pentacles in reverse. This feels like we're looking at a lot of feminine energy here. Feels like we're talking to feminine. We all, no matter what our genders, have access to masculine and feminine energies. Feminine energy has, for me as a psychic, has nothing to do with gender, with outward expression. It's an energy. Feminine energy in its most feminine form, because everything's on a scale. Everything in nature, everything psychically when you look. So on a scale of the most feminine energy is just present, being present. Being present and very aware, and being in creating the environment, creating the energy in the room kind of energy. I'm getting that feminine energy, whoever I'm talking to, if this is your reading, was told a foundational lie, that you can't support yourself, that you can't be independent, you can't be the Queen of Pentacles, you can't create in the 3D, you're incapable. Oh my goodness, what a flyby. They usually fly together and go in circle, but they kind of did a opposite circle. Very interesting. I don't feel like this is true. This is a deception to keep the feminine dependent on others and operating from her wounds, to put others, to fix others. It's something around finances, that women can't create their own abundance. Feminine energy. You're not allowed to go after and create whatever it is that you want. Feels like it's advantageous to somebody that the Queen of Cups stays wounded, doesn't see their value and worth, because that keeps them, the Queen of Cups, in reverse, working for others, laboring, giving their work and their labor away for others. The thing is, with Ace of Wands in reverse and Hanged Man, that it feels like you're not allowed to have your own thoughts, your own opinions, and your own desires. You're supposed to sacrifice everything for others, to fix others. And there's just no passion here. There's no excitement when you're chronically, over time, in a support in a support position for others. And there's no seeing this Queen of Cups in reverse as an independent human with their own wants and needs. Feels like the Queen of Cups in reverse becomes not a person. Like people see this, feel entitled to this feminine energy, entitled to do what it's really bizarre. Feels like what we're coming out of, deconstructing the patriarchy, not going to settle for deceptions. If it takes deceptions and wounding, yeah. All right. Moving on to what's hidden, we have the Empress in reverse. So I might be talking to someone who's this is resonating with, and it feels like you were raised by a toxic matriarch, toxic mother, not nurturing, not loving, not caring, not supportive of you being an individual. So it feels like this is generational and this is passed on. What's interesting, it feels like the feminine, toxic feminines raised toxic feminine women. This is gendered at this point. Feels like the Empress in reverse, a toxic matriarch, creates the wounding, the humiliation, the devaluing. There's something here about patriarchy around this is the way. This toxic way is the way. And that only men are allowed desires to go after what they want. And trained away from emotions, to be completely void of how to work with emotions, belittling emotions. So, okay, so we're seeing both sides here. I'm also getting on the masculine, raised by toxic feminine. Kind of put up on a pedestal, masculine energies, but taught to be uncaring, inconsiderate, no care for emotions, a lack of empathy, purposefully. You've done nothing wrong. You're so perfect. You've done nothing wrong. Oh my God. So this feels like a toxic mother who has sons and raises sons to be toxic, to go after whatever they want, to no accountability or responsibility for their emotions, for hurting others. They're just, it's their ego. They're fluffed, smoothed over. Everything's fine. Oh my gosh, you did not do that. Oh my gosh, it's that person. And it feels like, and so the masculines are treated very differently in this toxic type of family dynamic. And then the females, literally, I'm gendering because now I'm seeing gender. And then the females in this, daughters raised in this toxic environment by an uncaring, unloving, unnurturing mother, puts them in their place, projects their limitations onto them, positions them so they're wounded, so their job is to fix everybody else's wounds. This feels like if a little girl goes home to her mom and is like, this boy was picking on me, hurting me, pulling my hair, shoving me, and then the mom says, oh, that's just his way of saying he likes you, which creates violence and aggression and someone being mean to you as someone is actually cares about you. It creates misperceptions instead, and it feels like the daughters are clocking it, saying that hurts, I don't like it, it's aggressive, it's making me mad. And instead of being protected, instead of saying, oh, well, stand up for yourself, or let me go to school, let me help you, there's no help there. It's setting the feminine energies up for domestic violence, less than type of relationships. Whew. And it looks like it's creating very immature men who breadcrumb, who don't know how to cultivate, who position themselves as studly, as players, who just breadcrumb and are immature. This toxic way of mothering creates immature men who breadcrumb and are players. Inconsistent. They want what they want when they want it. Why shouldn't they get it? Because that's everything that they've been told. That they're perfect. That there's nothing that they do that's wrong. It's always someone else's fault. And so they never learn accountability. They just expect everyone to play along. And there's no change, no ending. Because they've never been expected to change. Imagine if that's been your life the whole time, someone telling you you're perfect just the way you are, and if there's ever a problem, it's always someone else's fault, and you can go after whatever you want. Then it just creates immature people who don't know how to cultivate in relationships. They don't care about others' feelings. And they feel it creates entitlement. All right. In the outcome and advice, we've got justice and temperance in reverse and devil. I hope this is balancing out, that more people are seeing this and creating balance. I love that justice is showing up. As a psychic, as a human being trying to figure out this world and how to work with energies, I've found that justice is not something outside of me, but something that you can cultivate within yourself. And when I've cultivated justice, staying balanced in my thoughts, I don't go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy or anything. Stay as balanced as possible. Not judging, just trying to stay as balanced in my thoughts. And what is interesting is by me staying balanced and me being as just as I can and being in that frequency of balance, then things start working out in my favor. Things that were unfair for a long time, instead of trying to make them happen, make justice happen, I just stayed balanced here and chronically staying balanced, staying just, staying fair. And it is amazing how things work out in my favor. Not attaching to outcomes, not trying to control and make something go my way, but by becoming the energy I want to perceive in this world. You've got to be the vibration of it before you can experience it in this reality. And if you are filled with rage and revenge and you are wanting justice, that's not the vibration. That's the opposite of justice. And I'm not saying to suppress your rage. I'm saying, how can you work through and feel your feelings of rage and upset? Those are real, valid feelings. How can you hold space and feel your feelings without becoming them? Without trying to control outcomes and control others. You don't have to follow any of this. This is just my perception, what I've learned in my journey of healing and of receiving justice. All right, anything else? Why is Temperance in reverse? So these are both balancing cards. Justice is Libra energy. So for me, that's upper chakras, being balanced in your thoughts, in your focus, how you're talking. Temperance, this is Sagittarian energy. It's a different type of balance. To me, it's more fiery, coming from more solar plexus energy. It feels like there's still some type of imbalance in the solar plexus. Power, personal empowerment, control. Fear and control tend to work together. So that makes sense. Staying balanced in your thoughts. But right now it feels like there's a power shift or a potential to shift this. Power's been way out of balance because of devil energy, because people who thrive off of that imbalance, people who can use people who are wounded, who are misinformed, and will center other people in their experience. Toxic devil energy feels like people, very draining energy. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the labor. And so they're benefiting off of the power imbalance. All right. So, and I love that these are all major arcana cards. So it feels like the collective, we're looking at these imbalances in power. And specifically in this reading around masculine and feminine energies. Six of Swords reverse, a lot of nervousness, a lot of anxiety. Three of Swords, betrayal, heartbreak. Yeah. Feels like people are seeing things differently. They're seeing the imbalances before something dies, before a movement and energy leaves. It gets loudest, very loud, and it feels like devil energies, people who are toxic and that thrive off of power imbalances because they can take advantage of people who are powerless, that have less power. It looks like that's coming up for a collective vote. And it feels like People in power are feeling this shift, feeling nervous. And so they're escalating in their demonstrations of power. I'm seeing a gorilla puffing their chest and pumping, and displays of aggression. Anything? But here's yes. Now we have all four queens showing up in this reading. Started with the Queen of Cups in reverse. Divine feminine energies, unable to see themselves, born into a family where there's a toxic feminine who teaches them to devalue themselves, to see themselves as a support character, a fixer for others, to not have your own desires and wants and needs. And now it looks like there's inner discernment. Feminine energies are seeing this. They're seeing how a lack of independence, codependence, depending on others, and how they've been juggled, mishandled. And feminine energies are reconnecting the dots in a different way and realizing that they don't have to work with people who don't work with them, who don't see them as individuals, as human. There's some dehumanizing here that's going on. Feels like for whoever doesn't show fear, doesn't back down, then there's some type of trying to create humiliation. Wait. Anything else? Any outcome and advice? King of Cups in reverse. Oh, interesting. We started with Queen of Cups in reverse. Now we're looking at masculine energy, emotions in reverse. It feels like that's what's coming out. That's what's being shown. That's out of balance. An immaturity. I don't see the men have not benefited from this system either. But unless they have a willingness to examine their own emotions, to see what's going on, their lack of maturity, then they can't be a part of the solution, and they become but I don't want to call masculine energies the problem, because it feels like things are shifting. It's the end of this toxic masculinity. It feels like there are those who are just holding out, just refuse, like emotions are bad or less than. An inability to process their own emotions without having someone do it for them. Okay, so it feels like what I'm seeing is the feminines coming online first, recognizing and not tolerating second-class human rights. And it's awakening toxic masculine energies that don't want to let go of benefiting off of the feminine's woundedness. Wow. All right, what an interesting message. I love every once in a while it feels more like world and big picture. So all right, I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.